This month may have been the most dramatic escalation in the civil conflict in this country. And I have I'm scared. I am genuinely worried about what happens next in 2024. And as I've mentioned in a few of my previous segments in the past week or so, a couple weeks, yes, there are people who have already fled the country. Not an exaggeration. Literally living abroad. And now there are other people that I know that are asking, do you think it might be time to try and, put some resources in a different country? And the question becomes, why should we stay? And I'm like, you really think it's going to get that bad, Yes, a lot of people do. And I'm worried it will for all the same reasons. And when you're looking at the horizon with the ship coming in, you know that it may take some time. That ship may turn around. We don't know what's on it or what it brings, or better yet, the storm on the horizon. You still start preparing for how to survive. Now, there's a really good reason not to leave this country, and it is to save this country, because despite the fact that we are seeing this tremendous evil, we still have a tremendous opportunity. There's a couple big stories pertaining to what we're seeing right now, and the most notable, California moves to explore every legal option to get Trump off 2024 ballot by December 28th. The lieutenant governor specifically cited the Colorado Supreme Court decision, ruling that Trump is ineligible to be on the ballot. There's no point in arguing with Democrats. My view on this is we are already in a civil war. Doesn't matter what you want to happen. Doesn't matter what you think will happen. It's happening. There is no argument to be made to people who don't care about what is just. That's it. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Now, you may believe in due process. I do. But they don't. They'll argue that a court banging a gavel is due process enough. No, due process means Donald Trump and others have a right to challenge this, must be convicted for something related to insurrection before the media just declares it and a court says, sure, why not? They don't care. The people who claim that our democracy is in danger are the same people who are cheering for a man's name being removed from the ballot. Now, what I'm seeing is a lot of memes. There was, people are posting this meme where it says one other man had his name removed from the ballot by Democrats only one other time, Abraham Lincoln. The Washington Post reported this a couple of years ago. Mail-in ballots were part of an effort to keep Lincoln from winning the presidency. Wow. Yeah. So I don't know. These are the moves they're making. The other big story here that I think is much more egregious, we're seeing over 10,000 illegal immigrants flooding into the United States every single day this month. It is a record. We've never seen such a surge. Joe Biden is ordering them to be brought in by federal law enforcement with no restrictions and no tracking conditions. Yeah, I'm sorry. I believe that what we're seeing right now is the Biden administration, Democrats, and aligned political groups are engaged in an actual conflict, an actual civil war. I don't know, man. I don't know how you have the border being ripped to shreds, the Democratic establishment opening the door to wave after wave, 10,000 plus non-citizens every day. And I don't know how you look at that and view it as anything other than physical conflict. No, I know people are saying, no, war is like people are shooting at each other and stuff like that. And I'm like, right. What I'm saying is it's an act of war against the United States. It's not like a nation state declaring war. It's probably more, it's something else. People are calling it an invasion, and I think that's an absolutely fair point. And the Democrats are facilitating it. When Republicans in Texas and Arizona and other states have tried to stop this, the federal government intervened and took down the barriers, guaranteeing these people be let in. There's videos of Border Patrol agents allowing these people in. I want to stress this point. Whatever ends up happening with all of this, I will not forget the law enforcement agents who facilitated the destruction of this country. I do believe we're going to win. I don't necessarily believe it comes to armed conflict. Donald Trump is telling you exactly what he needs. And I think if you look at history, Many people are concerned that the removal of Abraham Lincoln from the ballot precipitated the Civil War, a component of what precipitated Civil War. Maybe Donald Trump wins, and then who knows what happens afterwards. But certainly, if you're looking to history, the appropriate move would be to stay calm, stay within the procedure, and look to your elected representatives that you know and trust. I'm not just talking about Donald Trump, state level, local, city, etc. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. But right now, the best opportunity we have is building culture, changing and winning hearts and minds. And as Donald Trump says, just overwhelm the vote. Just everyone show up. That's what we need. And then what will happen afterwards? A very real possibility of mass deportations of all these people who were brought in at great expense, because it would be very difficult, but we may have to do it. Joe Biden, I believe, should be criminally charged for all of this. And it's going to get really interesting. Really scary, I would say. But let me go through all the news here instead of just ranting, as I often do. Before we get started, my friends, head over to thebestsongever.com to help support our cultural endeavors. I'll keep it simple for you. We're making music. We want to build an industry that is producing culture. You have the Daily Wire. They're making movies. We're making music. So far, it's just us. I get it. Daily Wire's got a handful of movies out. We're super excited for what the stuff they're working on. We've got 5 songs out now, and we are working on signing new bands and all of that stuff. But let me tell you what's happening. Let me give you the update, because this, I think, this matters. We are being now informed by the ratings agencies that track the metrics for the success of music. And they're saying, gee, gosh darn it, for some reason, your numbers are being tracked improperly. Surprise, surprise. We're being given the runaround. I'm talking with Carter, and he's like, oh, they're saying, oh, only the label, the record label can be discussing these things. Sorry, we can't talk to you. And Carter says, I am the record label. We are the ones who put this together. And then you end up with, power's flickering here. Sorry about that. Then you get people saying, oh, you are. Well, let me send you another email. And then sure enough, it's just run around, dead end. And they're saying it's too late. Thursday, this is the last day for the tracking of this week, and all those big numbers that you accrued, there must be a problem with it. We'll see what happens. So I tell you this. Support our musical endeavors if you like the culture war. Not everybody likes the kind of music that we put out. That's fine. You don't have to. But we are going to start here. Making movies is not in our space, but making music is something we can do. And we're going to start making more and more and signing more bands, and it's early. I mean, it's only been like a year and a half, 2 years for us actually getting the ball rolling on this, and we're trying to learn how the machine works. But what I can say is this. They will lock you out. Carter is mentioning this. He's like, it's just like Michael Malice said last night on Timcast IRL. If you are not part of the machine, they will try and stop you. But there's one thing they can't stop. They can refuse to write about us. They can refuse to give us access to distribution, all of these things, but they cannot stop. When you buy the song at thebestsongever.com, click download your price. They cannot stop it. If every single person who watched this video bought the song, we would chart Hot 100 in the top 10 or something like that. And then all of a sudden, these woke music industry executives, they will drop a load in their pants, shocked that we were able to subvert the system that they have surrounded and controlled and only allow their people to get access to. But it is what it is. If you want to support our music, go to thebestsongever.com. When you download the song, you'll get 35% off Cast Brew, and we're going to keep making music. It's not sustainable for us to do every single song with a big music video release and ask all of you to buy the song every single time in such a manner. But we're going to keep putting out music, get the ball rolling. Hopefully, within a year or two, we may even have 100+ songs that are released. Full album should be coming out in a few months. And there's going to be a bunch of songs we don't do music videos for, and we're just going to start putting out music. We actually have a bunch of songs already done that we haven't released because we're trying to maximize this push to make a splash. It is what it is, man. We are fighting against the old guard and the machine. And these people who are in control of culture, they would push narratives and they would try to manipulate the public, and they're losing. Now, in terms of news media, based on what we're seeing right now and what you're watching, we're winning. No question. The corporate press is in shambles. But hold on. It's easy for conservatives, moderates, post-liberals to push into the news space because talk radio has been around for a while. Rush Limbaugh, one of the pioneers of it. And that's been a challenge for the media apparatus. But when it comes to movies, music, video games, culture, the right lags. And the right is being joined now by great cultural forces of the post-liberals who are fed up with the far-left Democrats and their insane policies destroying this country. You end up with great cultural strides like the Rippaverse, Eric July, their comic books, Daily Wire's movies, and the music we are putting out. I think if you watch the music video for Together Again, you'll see it is very, very well produced. And that's what we're working on, solving this problem, but building a culture. And I'll explain to you why. When you look at these stories, and then we'll shift it back into the news. But this is why we're redoubling all our efforts. This is why everything we do is about culture. We want young people to live in our world. We want them to be inspired by our views. When they watch a skate video that I put out on my Instagram, you might be thinking, I get these people that are just not smart enough to understand. They say, grow up, Tim, stop skateboarding. It's a professional sport worth billions of dollars. And we're trying to inspire young people. Do you agree that kids skateboard? Great. When they watch my video, there's a Gadsden flag behind me. That's what we're trying to do. So these people that are like, don't watch movies and don't have fun and don't exercise and don't skate, yeah, fed. Trying to stop us from inspiring the next generation, to inspire them to do things that are fun, exhilarating, exciting. But more importantly, when they look at the success we have with our music, I'm getting hit up by people being like, wow, man, your song's doing really well. Yeah, we were like apparently #1 in Toronto. We were trending in Hong Kong. And I'm like, good, we'll keep pushing. We'll keep pushing because we are going to build a parallel economy here. And then kids will see. I want you to understand this. When there's a kid and he wants to be a YouTuber, he wants to make vlogs, he wants to make music, guess what? Good luck on YouTube. It's never going to happen. Rumble, however. You want to make music? Okay, well, go and try and get into a label. Gatekeeping. They're gatekeeping. You're not getting in. Well, Timcast, Trash House Records is here. We're going to start signing on some bands and some artists. There's a real opportunity there. I'm already talking with some major artists, and I'm like, we can offer you more than any label has offered you, and we don't even want your money. We're going to win this one. Here's a story from the Post-Millennial. Let me pull up the tweet and show you exactly what the Lieutenant Governor is trying to do. Exploring every legal option to remove Donald Trump. Now, the funny thing about this is they say the Constitution is clear. You must be 40 years old and not be an insurrectionist. That's actually not true. According to a Supreme Court ruling from 2010 that Vivek Ramaswamy already pointed out, the 14th Amendment, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment only does not apply to the president. And for obvious reasons I laid out just the other day, because every state gets a say in the president, as opposed to reps. They could be voted in without the say of some other, the northern states at the time. Saying that they're prompted by Colorado Supreme Court ruling, they also want Trump removed. Now, why does this matter? If Donald Trump is removed, his popular vote count will drop. They will then argue that Trump won with minority vote. Michael Malice says this is likely a trial balloon to get him off in general. Right, because Colorado Supreme Court ruling actually is about the general election, not the primary. The primary is ancillary. Just so happens that because Trump was disqualified, he can't be in the primary either, which doesn't make much sense. The Supreme Court of Colorado can make the argument that Donald Trump can't be in the general election, but the primary, the Republican Party can decide who they want to run. So why remove him from the primary? It's very interesting. And now here's how scary things are really getting. When they make overt political moves against Donald Trump in this way, these are precursors to civil war. I argue that it is a civil war period. That's it. I guess the question is what comes next? If it does erupt into full-scale fighting, which I believe is not that far off, considering what we're seeing now, they will say that this time we are in is a component of civil war. And here's the issue. The Democrats are engaging in political attacks using law enforcement to arrest innocent people. A journalist for The Blaze, Steve Baker, being ordered to surrender because being a journalist on January 6th apparently is now a crime. Innocent people and people who've posted memes. There's a guy who made a meme about voting for Hillary by text. Prison. There's a leftist who made a meme in the same way about voting for Trump. Nothing. No prison, despite the same meme. It's fairly obvious. Democrats are willing to use law enforcement to engage in violent assaults on innocent people for political power. And the only reason I would say it's not a civil war is that the right is trying to do everything right. The leftists, the liberals, are engaging in evil. This is a fact. They'll argue that what they're doing is good and just. Yeah, sorry. They can argue whatever they want. I don't care. They're liars. They're demons. There are many people who claim to be on the right that are standing alongside the demons, and, we won't forget this. And what I mean by demon, I say figuratively, but some people believe literally, some kind of spiritual fight. You have the Owen Schroyer prison guards I mentioned yesterday who said, I'm familiar with the work, I'm a fan, but I'm just doing my job. Yeah, that guy is a servant of evil. He may not be the demon himself, but he is a servant on his knees, licking the feet of demons. And again, I say that figuratively. If you want to believe it literally, maybe you do. The only reason we're not into full-scale conflict is because people on the right are just saying, like, let's get through this. And you know what? I think it's the right move. I do. We don't want violence. When the Democrats engage in these extreme acts, it shows the weakness of their hand. That's why Donald Trump has gone to his rallies and said, just come out and vote and overwhelm the system. And he's winning in all the polls. It's going to look like it's looking like it might be a landslide. That's why they're trying to remove his name from the ballot, because when he wins and it legitimizes his use of force, then he has law enforcement go and arrest these people, and we avoid any kind of mass casualty incidents or conflicts. So what are Democrats doing in the meantime? Driven by fear and misinformation, migrants pour into Eagle Pass, overwhelming Border Patrol. Overwhelming Border Patrol? I've seen videos of these Border Patrol guys letting them in. Border Patrol could be kicking them out and saying, you can't cross the border. There's a lot Border Patrol could do to stop these people from coming in. They're doing nothing. They are facilitating evil, servants of the demons. And they know it. I saw a video where human traffickers, it's not an exaggeration, are trafficking minors through an airport, and a border guard is just like, happens every day. Yeah, that's what it is. And I'm like, my guy, you could do something about it. You're choosing not to. You're standing by. So I say this to you. How about you either stop the human traffickers or you quit? Resign. I don't understand. I hear this, I think Michael was mentioning the other day, that a lot of these guys who are just following orders have mouths to feed. And they're like, so I'm scared, don't know what to do. And I'm like, look, I get it, man. It's a scary prospect, but just remove yourself from an individual circumstance and understand the abstract. I have people say to me, Tim, I have kids. You don't understand how hard it is. I understand. I do. I don't have kids myself, but I'm not blind to the fact that you want your kids to survive. But you also must understand the basic reality of this. If you are standing alongside the devil himself because he's promised to feed your kids, you are still a servant of the devil. Now, that doesn't change, right? And you can argue, I'm sorry, my kids need food. I'll be like, that's great, servant of demons, evil man who would destroy the country and everything the founding fathers laid forth. I hope it was worth it. And I hope your children inherit living under demons. It is what it is. I'm not here to pass judgment. I'm here to just give you the blanket. This is the reality of what will happen. These border guards who facilitate evil and the destruction of this country, the prison guards who say, I'm just doing my job. Right. So the devil comes to you and he offered you a deal. He said, I will keep the bellies of your children full. You need only drop to your knees in service of Satan, and I will give you my protection. And you said, yes. There's a great scene in that film Shift that Angel Studios put out. They take this guy from his family, his wife. This is the point of the story. And the benefactor, a man who can shift people from different realities, says, I can give it all back to you. I can give it all back to you. Just serve me. And the man starts praying instead. And Neil McDonough, who plays the benefactor, is like, are you actually praying right now? He's not going to do anything for you. You know what? It doesn't change the man's conviction. He just keeps praying. And he ignores the benefactor who eventually leaves. It's an interesting concept that so many people that it got made into a film. That there is the story of a man whose life was destroyed, but he never turned his back from God. Now, I'm not here to preach Christianity or anything like that. I'm not a Christian. I guess I'd be considered deist, is what I've been told by Josie the Red-Headed Libertarian. I believe in God. I don't follow scripture or anything like that. But my view is, I believe it's simple logic. What we're looking at right now, let me show you the story. I think I have it right here. Boston City Council passes measure to allow non-citizens to vote in local elections, December 13th, 2023. Not the first story we've seen of this. Numerous jurisdictions are allowing non-citizens to vote now. These border guards are servants of darkness. If you're religious, and many of you are, not everybody is, then you can view it one of two ways. There are individuals who would sacrifice the fabric of their own country for themselves and their family. Who am I talking about? Let me say this again. A man says, I will sell out this nation because it means my family will be protected and they will benefit. Who do you think I'm talking about? I'm talking about Joe Biden. I'm talking about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. I'm talking about 10% for the big guy. Oh, did you think I was talking about all of these police officers and border agents who were saying I have kids to feed? I was talking about them too. I view them no differently. When I look at Joe Biden, a man who has sold out this nation, whose administration is targeting innocent people all for the sake of protecting his corrupt administration and his family, I do not see a difference between him and the prison guard who was facilitating the imprisonment of Owen Schroyer. It's the same thing. Now, of course, the prison guard says, but I'm being told I have to do this. No one tells you what you must do. If you're a religious person, you probably believe that the only master you would serve is your Lord. And if you're not religious, you're more atheist, then you know that free will is yours. You choose in the end. And the only one responsible for your choices is you. When I see these stories, record flooding of the border, and border guards do nothing. They just facilitate it. I don't see a difference between that and Joe Biden. You can't come to me and say, well, Joe Biden's not being coerced into doing it. I mean, what does that mean, coerced? Joe Biden's thinking, my family, my son, they will want for nothing. I'm going to make sure they live the best life they can, and I will destroy anyone and anything that gets in my way. His son, so when Hunter Biden is facing a problem with Burisma, he calls his dad. His dad shows up and says, fire the prosecutor. What father would not intervene to protect his son from prison? Now, there's a lot of parents that would say, no, son, you've done something wrong. Hey, good parents. Or maybe not, I don't know. I ask you this. If your son did something wrong and was facing life in prison, what would you do? There are many fathers that would absolutely take the fall for their child to protect them. Joe Biden doesn't care about you or this country. The only thing that matters to him is that his son is protected. So he will sell you out. Now, where are we? $175 billion to Ukraine for their war, likely because Joe Biden did some backroom deals to protect his son, and he's worried about what would happen if he doesn't. I don't think it's the only reason. I think the military-industrial complex has strong interests in expanding NATO's borders and things like that. And then I look at these police officers. I look at these border patrol agents. I look at the prison guards. And I don't understand how anyone could make an excuse for the things they're doing. When you see that, oof. It's a terrifying reality of what this country is coming to. My attitude is more just, I'd quit. But I get it. What's your list of priorities? Your children come first. Totally get it. And so for this, you have otherwise good men of law enforcement, the military, who would destroy their communities, their country, sacrifice it all so that their children may have some temporary reprieve. Well, the only thing that matters is your children will inherit a nation ruled by demons, and they will be subservient to them. My hope for the future is a country of honor, integrity, and, you know, strong values, scruples. I remember I've heard so many stories about foreign countries and bribery with police. Stories about in Russia, you get pulled over, you just bribe the cop and everything goes away. In the United States, it doesn't work so much like that because, well, cops have scruples. I'm not going to take a bribe. It could destroy my life. It's not worth it. Some do. Crooked cops exist. But all of this is going away. And we are inching ever towards a reality where the cop is just going to say, no one's going to find out. I'll take the $100 right now. Let the guy off with a warning. And that $100 goes to my kid. He needs the money. My family needs the money. I don't see a difference. I really, really don't. The federal government bribes law enforcement officers to break the law, and they say yes. What's the difference between a man going to a cop and saying, come on, let me off the hook and I'll slip a $100 bill in your pocket? What's the difference between that cop then saying, okay, I'll do something illegal so that I can make extra money? Then you have a scenario where these Border Patrol agents are taking the barriers down and letting illegal immigrants flood into the country. And he says, hey, look, but they're giving me a paycheck. It's bribery. You're breaking the law for money. You're no different and no better than Joe Biden, doing illegal things for cash because you want to give stuff to your family. Welcome to our brave new world, a world where there are no men of honor. I shouldn't say none. There are a lot. There are many. And you are, watching this. Probably many of you are. You would, at the very least, you just be like, look, let's say, imagine you're a cop and a guy comes to you and says, look, we're going to take something out of the evidence locker, okay? Turn around, don't look, and we're going to slip some money your way. Little Billy's going to get the baseball uniform he needs. These Border Patrol agents are the guys going, you got it, boss. Being told to do something illegal in exchange for money. It could be better than that. The police chief comes to them and says, we're taking this out of the evidence locker. We need to do it. But don't worry. You're going to get your paycheck. Just keep your mouth shut. And that cop says, okay. You got it for me, boss. I won't say, I'll open the door and I won't look. Hey, man, I don't want to get fired. Let me explain something. If you're a security guard in a bank and the bank manager comes up to you and says, I'm going to open the door for these guys. They're going to come in and they're going to take everything. If you try and stop us, I will fire you. The security guard, just sweating bullets, says, okay, I guess. When the police find out what happened, that security guard gets arrested as an accomplice. You allowed them in. You were part of the plan. You knew what was going on. So when I look at all of this and everything they're doing, my view is quite simple. When we win, and we will win, and we will avert the most serious elements of conflict, I do believe so, and Donald Trump is elected, Kash Patel is appointed. I hope he gets a good AG. I don't know if Kash would be the AG, but I look forward to all of these law enforcement officers being criminally charged. I look forward to the criminal court cases where they say, Officer Ferguson, was it? There's a video of you opening the border barrier and allowing non-citizens to illegally enter this country, facilitating human trafficking. You are being charged with multiple counts of human trafficking, smuggling, et cetera, et cetera. How do you plead? And they're going to say, I'm not guilty. I was told to do it by my boss. So your boss instructed you to commit felonies and you decided to do it. Why? I didn't want to get fired. So a man offered you cash money in exchange for committing felonies and you thought that was the right thing to do. Sir, you admit that do you understand you are admitting guilt before this court? Oh, I look forward to those. And I do think it'll happen. It's going to be a wild 2024, my friends. I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.